your seatbelt on?
Don't knock on my window.
Why you have your seatbelt on?
Don't knock on my window like that, though.
Like what?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here. Now we can lower here and talk to you.
Just get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm finna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do.
Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down. Hey! Keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of fellas you in this car? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. That ain't no twin. When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? I'm getting out. You understand how we do what or when we tell you? You're a little fucking confused. I'm getting out, bro. Too late. Too late. All right, bro. Take me still, bro. Do what you gotta do. We are. We will. Good, bro. It is good. Hey. Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. You stop crying.
All right, so I'm going to give you a nonpartisan, objective commentary and analysis on what you just saw. Typically, people doing videos on this, they're either going to be from one perspective, just focused on, oh, racism, black man, these racist cops, ignorant cops, whatever, that kind of thing, or it's going to be sort of a Blue Lives Matter, full defense of the cops. The guy, he should have just followed the instructions. It's his fault, blah, blah, blah. He didn't comply, whatever. I'm going to look at it from an objective standpoint in terms of what I see happening when I look at it through an unfiltered lens. So, it looks like he was speeding, which is why he was pulled over. When the officer walked up, the officer, I guess, tapped on the window. It's not really clear. He didn't deny that he did it, so I'm pretty sure he did it. I think he actually acknowledged that he tapped on the window. So he tapped on the window. The driver took it offensively. He didn't like how he was tapping on it. Maybe he felt he was tapping on it too aggressively. So one of the first issues that I see here is sort of, I think this officer didn't really do a good job in terms of being professional. The guy gets offended that you tapped on his window. The way to handle that would be to respond and say, okay. Some might say, sorry about that. I'm just trying to get your attention, right? Treat this guy professionally. You're not doing a drug bust or some gangbang or whatever. He was speeding. You're trying to give a speeding ticket, right? So the guy gets a little riled up because he tapped on his window too hard. De-escalate. That didn't happen. Then I think he's about to walk away or something, the guy winds up the window, and this is where things escalate really quickly. So, for those that are on the side of the driver, I think one thing that you're missing and the people that you listen to are missing, people who comment on this video that focus on the officers being bad. I get why this officer behaved very badly. I'm not justifying his behavior. I'm not giving him excuses. But I think it's good to have some context in terms of understanding the why. The officer was, to some degree, terrified or afraid because the window was pretty tinted. And when he winds the window up, you can't really see what's going on in the car. So I'm pretty sure it made the officer feel uneasy. Now, I know there's a lot of commentary about, officers, you pull out your wallet and they think it's a gun and that thing and being real scaredy cats. And I agree. A lot of times, as a police officer, the way they act, sometimes like when they fire their guns, many times it's kind of like, if you're that terrified, then you should find another job. However, this is a little bit different. You have a guy, you're pulling over in a car. I'm sorry, but whether this is correct to acknowledge or not, certainly you wouldn't want to acknowledge it as an officer, but he does fit a certain profile. I'm not talking about that he's a black guy either. A guy who speaks and dresses like he does and drives a car like that, he doesn't exactly look like a businessman. Now, obviously, you have celebrities and other people in other professions. And even if you're some office guy, that doesn't mean that's how you carry yourself. You could be a sales guy that's really good, that can afford a car like that. But I'm pretty sure these officers deal with some people who, are a little problematic, shall we say, that would be driving an expensive car like that and wouldn't necessarily sort of fit the profile of someone driving a car like that. And just again, to be clear, you can have as dark a skin complexion as you want and, drive a car like that. And you don't have to be like in a suit and tie and looking like a nerd. But he seemed a little aggressive. He seemed a little like let's just be honest. if he was some kind of a drug dealer or gangster, would his conduct be much different than what you saw there? I mean, we know he's I guess, an NFL star or something like that, but again, his behavior and conduct and way he came across, would, well, it's either you're a rapper or you're like a gangster, or I guess you could be an NFL guy. But the thing about it is the officer has to consider the potential of this guy having a gun in there, and you can't see what's going on. And you pull out a gun, next thing you know, an officer is killed. Now, again, I do agree that they seem to be a little bit too terrified. There's many times where I see that being the case, but I do understand why the officer got uneasy. The problem comes in on the officer side in terms of the way he dealt with it. I understand you can't see, it makes you feel uncomfortable, but you still need to be professional. You still need to de-escalate. And instead, he's taking on this sort of very aggressive and hostile sort of attitude with the driver. So the driver is amped up, then the officer's amped up. Where's this headed, right? The officer should be the professional here. I mean, you're the public servant. He's just a guy driving his car. He's not working. You're working, right? So he should be the better one to be like de-escalating and being a little bit more skillful. Whereas the driver, I mean, sure, it'd be nice if he's nicer and more cooperative with the officer, but he's not on the clock, right? He's chilling. He doesn't have any obligation to do anything to conduct himself in any way other than, following the law. So I think it's more on the officer to be professional and, yes, you feel uneasy, but there's got to be a better way to handle the situation than what he did. And then even the getting him out of the car, how does he end up on the ground? And it's just, yeah. Really bad attitudes from these officers, very unprofessional. Very unnecessary, escalating things instead of de-escalating. So a lot of the blame is on the officers. However, I think it's important to also consider the context that this officer just probably didn't just go crazy just to go crazy. He felt nervous not being able to see in the car, just considering, although being a police officer is actually a relatively safe position, usually law enforcement does not make top 10 lists of most dangerous jobs. So the perception of how dangerous it is to be a police officer, with exceptions, of course. I mean, if you're a police officer in the middle of the hood, it's a little different, but on average, being a police officer is not a dangerous job. However, it can be, and they're human. So just like how civilians hear all this stuff on the news about police officers getting killed or whatever, it wouldn't be surprising that officers also have an irrational view of their own jobs just based on media coverage and them being human. So I think he let his fear get to him and behaved in a very unprofessional manner, which led them down this very bad road. Fortunately, as far as I know, no one gets shot or anything like that. It's just a matter of him being thrown on the ground and just what you saw there. But that's about what I wanted to comment on it. There's going to be many people commenting on the video from different perspectives, but I just wanted to point that out. So for those who are totally defending the cops, that's not it. And for those who are completely on the side of the guy without adding the context, which does not excuse the behavior, but the context of why they would want the window wound down, I don't think that's it either. Like, let's get the full story. Let's not try to pick one side or the other. Like, let's just discuss reality. And reality is that was probably very uncomfortable having this guy being aggressive and then he winds up the window and you can't see, right? However, that doesn't explain or justify the police response afterwards. This gives you a little bit of context, but that's it. Context is not an excuse. All right, guys, this is Debate Me channel. Debate Me comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.